Students, let us start the discussion on 04th March 2016 newspaper. The first article is related to the Rajiv Gandhi assassins and the further action of the Tamil Nadu government on remitting these people. So in these circumstances, what is the law and the Supreme Court judgment is stating about? The matter of Rajiv Gandhi assassination was investigated and got prosecuted by the CBI, and the Supreme Court held that on these matters the primacy exists with the center and the decision has to be taken by the center. Now, the Tamil Nadu government has again placed the request before the center on providing for a remission to these convicts in the case of Rajiv Gandhi assassination. Now, as the elections are coming in Tamil Nadu, the local parties in Tamil Nadu wants to play the regional card, and they want to show how the national parties are insensitive to the cause of the Tamilians. Probably that's what is the Hindus' view over here. So in this context, what it can be argued is this. Today, the lifelong imprisonment is becoming an alternative for capital punishment across the world. So in this context, if lifelong imprisonment is seen to be wavered to the political pressures of the day, then capital punishment gains its legitimacy. And the second is, any of the people involved with these grievous criminal activities, their remission has to be judged based on the merit of the case rather than the politics of the day. So in this context, try to understand about Article 72 and 161 of the Constitution. Article 72 provides for the powers to President with regard to the remission of a particular individual. Similarly, Article 161 provides the powers to the Governor. Now coming to the dissent. Now Sanjay Hegde, what he argues is this. Dissent is an integral part of the democracy, and various freedom rights, especially the Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution, ensures this for us. So, in India, throughout the history, the dissent has led to an important developments and change in the existing structures. A society has evolved through introspection because of a strong dissent against the existing system. After we became independent, other than the emergency period, most of the times the governments are very receptive to dissent, and dissent is taken in a positive spirit. So in this context, the courts also have seen dissent as an exercise of democracy. So the section 66A of the Information Technology Act, the Supreme Court declared as void based on the right of the citizens for free expression. On the other hand, even our enemy, the Pakistani former Prime Minister, he said that India, though heterogeneous, much heterogeneous than Pakistan, it is more stable because of its noise and chaos of our democracy. So it shows the resilience of the Indian society flows from its ability to dissent. Next is, now it's a critical analysis and also what has to be done with regard to the foreign policy front. Now, a new strong, clear outreach by Nirupama Rao, the previous foreign secretary. Now, normally it has been said that the foreign policy of a country is an outcome of its geography and history. The leadership can only bring in a superficial change to the established base. But however, a strong leadership, a sense of powerful government can provide for a new direction to the foreign policy. So in this context, the article tries to engage or understand what exactly Prime Minister Modi has achieved on the foreign front. So in this case, the neighborhood first policy, immediately after the Lok Sabha elections, to his swearing-in ceremony, Prime Minister Modi called all the prime heads of the government from the neighboring countries. So because of this, a kind of South Asian solidarity was witnessed and greater South Asian connectivity and also South Asian oneness is being predicted for the future. So, but however, the neighborhood first policy of the Prime Minister has its own deficiencies. or difficulties. If you take the state-sponsored terrorism of the Pakistan, and then terrorism is becoming a state tool, so this is a major irritant. On the other hand, taking the countries such as Nepal, the sustainable diplomacy and is very much critical. So in this context, India appearing as a big brother and the relationship seeming as unfair and unilateral, that makes the relationship or cooperation much difficult, and securing the South Asian commons becomes very a far-fetched agenda or far-fetched idea. Next, Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka is going through this a reconciliation phase and making up of a new constitution. And in this context, India can provide for its constitutional examples to Sri Lanka. And Bangladesh, it's the best example how two neighbors can engage. The land boundary agreement, maritime boundary agreement, they had a salutary effect with regard to the relations between India and Bangladesh are concerned. Now, Central Asia, you know that we are developing a Chabahar port in Iran. And this Chabahar port, which provides us the connectivity to Central Asia, and then it also provides the connectivity to the Afghanistan. So now India has taken a sustained effort to build the peace in Afghanistan as the foreign troops are withdrawing from there, and again the anarchy is setting in. So in these circumstances, India shall actively engage with the regional players to bring back the peace and stability to Afghanistan. And the next is, with regard to the Central Asia, now it is becoming critical for our energy security. So India, as quick as possible, it has to complete its the Chabahar port. And next is Indian Ocean. Now Indian Ocean by and large is peaceful compared to the South China Sea and the other places. So engagement with Africa and Indian Ocean littoral states of Africa, it is one neglected aspect which can be taken forward. However, India-Africa Summit, it is providing an alternative platform or a wider platform for engagement. But however, the Prime Minister has to engage more frequently with Africa. And the next is India's Act East policy towards ASEAN. So it also has a remarkable impact on the ASEAN countries. Now coming to the China, now there is no much deviation in our India's policy towards China. The Prime Minister's visit has led to greater people-to-people engagement and also certain visa relaxations to provide for the Chinese business a free access into India. But however, the continuous policy in China for the past 3 decades, it has eased the tensions and developed good relationships and understanding between the countries. And it has to be taken forward in the long-term interest. Now coming to the One Belt, One Road initiative, in this China-Pakistan economic corridor is a major cause of concern for India. It goes through the Karakoram range and Pak-occupied Kashmir, in which India claims its territorial right. And the second is, the intentions of the China are not clear with regard to its WOR initiative. And many people criticize it as for its exclusivity and also criticizes for its secrecy. So next is, with regard to West Asia, it is very critical because we get almost most of the remittances from West Asia and energy security. The existing turmoil in the various countries and also the growing Islamic State are a major threats for India's foreign policy from West Asia. Now, United States and India, they are the natural partners. Now, what is the critical thing is, now these relationships are more growing in a strategic dimension. When President Obama has visited India, so in 2015, January 26, a joint statement was issued. In this, a joint strategic vision of both the countries was extended beyond the Indian Ocean region and to the Pacific. It is the first time India's role in the Pacific was recognized in a joint statement between India and United States of America. And the next is NRIs. No other Prime Minister has engaged the NRIs as like the Prime Minister Modi. And in this case, this community is very vital for the development of India in the long run. So, a wider participative role for the overseas is expected with regard to the necessary adjustments made in the functioning of the Ministry of External Affairs. So, these are the suggestions given by Nirupama Rao. Coming to ASEAN plus military drill, it is happening in Pune. Myanmar is not participating in it. And in this, the first time it was led by a woman officer, that is Lieutenant Colonel Sophia Qureshi. So these are the factual points for the prelims. Coming to the Make in India initiative. So the Rafael of Israel and Kalyani Group of India are coming into a joint venture, and they are developing Kalyani Rafael advanced systems, and it is meant to build the missiles in India. The first Spike anti-tank guided missiles are being cleared by the Defense Acquisition Council, and this joint venture is expected to produce the same. And connectivity plans shall not be unilateral. It is in the light of OBOR, One Belt One Road initiative. So what it has been criticized is China is unilaterally taking forward the connectivity, and it is posing a security challenges to the other countries. So in this context, what it has been said is India's Sagar, security and growth for all in the region, BBIN, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India and Nepal, sub-regional connectivity, it appears as a no threat to none. So in this context, the China's aggressiveness in developing a global connectivity shall come beyond the doubt that it is not posing any threat to anyone. And coming to Maldives, now Mr. Nasheed, he was the president of Maldives, former president. Now Mr. Amin is the president. And Mr. Amin has taken an autocratic tendencies, and it has led to the arrest of Nasheed, many of the opposition leaders, judges, etc. So in this context, it is Nasheed says that there is no chance for a fair trial in Maldives. So he also recommended or requested India for an active participation to end the autocracy or authoritarian rule in Maldives. And the next is, he has explained about his India's first foreign policy, in which he has clearly stated that Maldives as a country will not engage any infrastructure project towards or which can damage the India's interests. So this is what is India's first foreign policy of Mohammad Nasheed. These are the articles for today. Thank you very much. And now, yesterday I gave you the question. The centrality of the question is, so international trade, if it has to achieve the green energy, then it has to be bounded by the green economics too. The profit shall not be the sole motive of the business and international trade. So explain with WTO in this context. So what is the answer I am expecting is, you can talk about WTO Nairobi conference, and you can also talk about agriculture, special safeguard mechanisms, subsidies on the agriculture and WTO issues, and recent domestic content regulation with regard to the India's solar procurements and what the WTO judgment. From these three dimensions we can say the international trade regime has to be a bit favorable towards the developing countries, because they have a huge task of feeding the millions and providing for livelihood opportunities for one and them. So generating the employment opportunities through encouraging the local manufacturing is very critical. And at the same time, the local manufacturing and consumption in the same society, it leads to the reduction in cost and also the carbon footprint. So from this dimension, I was expecting you to write the answer. Thank you very much.